What's up?
He's actually
What's-
not as pixelated on his machine, so
Yeah, I'll say it does look better for sure.
So, welcome to the HSR NerdCast, where health, stamina, regen is just as important to us as it is to you. I'm the Great Rex.
Hikatori.
Habs.
Simmons and Parker, or I should say the Great Rex, sounds exhausted.
Yeah,
Eh.
I'm not as tired as I normally am.
Well, that's good.
So,
That's a good thing.
yeah.
Mistakes were made. I left water in the other room.
Ooh, unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll make it. We'll make it through.
Well,
Remember, everybody, stay hydrated.
oh boys.
Dude.
As for things that I want to talk about, I mean, to open up the floor, we'll shoot. So the biggest thing I got is Oracle bought TikTok and it actually got approved. So people who love TikTok will not be thrown out into the cold.
Cold.
Yes.
So,
So-
so Rex, question for you.
Yes.
There's a day when you said, if you get too obsessed with TikTok, I get to slap you.
Does this
Has that
count?
day arrived yet?
No, not. I. You know the funny part is I just prior to this whole talking about TikTok getting banned, because every TikTok person was like, "Oh my God, go to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna start posting there." Blah 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 blah. I was like, "Screw this. Everybody's just trying to promote their other social medias at this point. I'm just gonna let it sit." And I took there was a hiatus that I stopped watching the TikToks, and now everybody's back to normal. And you know what I love? It's like how all of these creators were like I'm gonna post on my Instagram and I'm creating a YouTube channel. You go to their YouTube channel, there's like one video. One video. Like, you guys are doing a fantastic job. Fantastic.
But I have to give them credit. They have more YouTube videos than I do.
I have more YouTube videos than you do.
I'm curious, like, how different is the editing? Like, does TikTok have its own editing software built into it, or are these people actually like going in full-on video editing?
No, I think that I have not used TikTok to create a TikTok, but I think it does have some sort of video editing quality to it.
Kind of like Instagram.
Yeah, sort of like Instagram, yeah.
So when they went in to make their YouTube videos, they were like, "Oh, crap, this is really hard to do, and I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah,
Never
you're
mind,
probably
forget
right.
this.
You're probably right. I'd put money on that you were right, but
Yeah.
but like I find it super interesting though. Like the nerd portion of it, is that Oracle and Walmart both bought stake in it, so that it could be used, still be used in the United States.
That's a
And
power move right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
like Oracle, what was the
It's weird that Oracle did, because
Yeah.
that's just so not what they do.
what
Very
was it?
odd.
It's the data center security
Yeah.
side of things.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
big concern, is that the
Yeah.
data was being seen by the Chinese government. So it makes sense that
Yeah.
they would all of a sudden take interest, along
Right,
with the
right.
fact CEO is friendly with Trump.
Yeah.
But
So
Oracle is such a loved company.
Oracle.
I hate Oracle.
Oracle invested and is taking 12.5% stake in the company, and Walmart is taking a 7.5% stake in the company. So, and then the rest of it's being held by what is the
Tencent?
ByteDance?
Yeah.
ByteDance, yeah.
Which that's the Chinese company.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
a Chinese company. Yep. But part of the deal, it looks like the new company that's being created out of this merger deal, or not merger, but buyout deal. I don't, because it's not really a merger.
It's 'cause
Yeah.
it's not a full sell either.
Yeah.
It's just a majority.
Yeah.
It's basically they're running the U.S. operations of TikTok.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
they were part of that deal seems to be that they have to put $5 billion in new taxes towards U.S. education, and that
Okay.
they're going to be so. It basically in the article that I read and pulled up for reference, basically that they would out of Oracle and Walmart, there would also be they would have to expand its headquarters in the United States, and a new company will likely be incorporated in Texas. So my guess is they're probably going to invest that money into a company that, from where it says here, it says they would build and provide online videos to teach kids about history, science, and other subjects. So my guess is probably that new company that will be joining is probably something that they're going to invest the money, build, and it's going to be sort of like I don't know. You guys aren't probably familiar with it. Simmons might be, but Zern or Extra Math, something like that. Something like those programs that are for teachers use for teaching aids for kids. Is
Oh, nifty.
my guess is probably what's going to come out of that. So,
Yeah, that's really cool.
I mean,
That is pretty cool.
I'll be interested to see where it goes, especially considering that I have to be in a little bit of a tune with what new teaching technology comes out. You know, people bring it to my
That's fair.
attention, and I have to obviously I don't actively go searching for it, but I have to I get roped into it, I guess is the best
That's
way to
fair.
say it.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So
That's really cool. I mean, that's a really neat stipulation to say, hey, we'll
Yep.
allow this to continue being a thing in the U.S., but you have to allocate a large amount of funds
yeah.
to school system. That's really cool.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, when you in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at that kind of money, yeah, that money is a large sum. But for the companies that are taking stake in the company that owns TikTok, the amount of money those three companies are making to say, all right, we need that kind of money, then that's really a drop in the hat to those guys.
Right.
I mean, you kind of right, but 5 billion is a lot.
It's a
Like
good chunk.
these aren't $1 trillion companies. I mean, Walmart might be,
Yeah.
but like it's not $1 trillion company where they can just afford to write off
Yeah.
$5 billion, right?
Well,
That's
Yeah,
still
but
a
I'm
lot of
guessing that's
money.
also not in the first year. That's over.
X amount
That's
of
over
time.
a very long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And
That's still
not to
a lot
mention
of money.
like
Yeah.
how when they say it has to be invested and all of that, like it says taxation, but is it taxation on a new site that cost $5 billion to get up and running, or is it you know could they say, all right, well, you're building a whole new data center, a whole new site, a whole new company for this in so we'll say Amarillo, Texas, right? um that's going to cost them $5 billion to things. So now, is that the tax revenue off of them building that? Is that what they're calling the $5 billion? I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
Right. Right.
We'll have to keep
but-
an eye on it, see what more information comes out about it
Yep.
eventually. Because I'm
Mhm.
sure as they start to produce stuff, there'll be more information about it. But that's pretty cool to know
Yeah.
coming up right off the bat.
Yeah, and it's nice to see because there is quite a bit of people that have made, a substantial platform and substantial work off of TikTok.
Yeah.
They're, I follow a few, like there's the one guy he built a small boat out of a jet ski and one of those children's tugboat sandboxes. and his revenue to do it, it was coming out of, well, the TikTok promotion of his merch shirts and different things like that. And then, there's another guy that I was paying attention to that he's a singer. So he's making his name, he's putting his name out there, and he was trending number 3 on the music charts for Apple. He was number 1 was like Justin Bieber. I don't remember who said no, and then it was him. Like,
wow.
that's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
Out of something that is a minute long videos.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, but
It's very cool.
Yes.
Also, I think, what is it? Season 2 of The Mandalorian comes out.
I know it was announced. I don't know when it was. I don't have Disney Plus, so yeah.
Same. I've never seen season 1.
I'm all right. I bought Disney Plus just for Mandalorian and all of the Star Wars. Like that was my big reasoning behind it. And season 2 of The Mandalorian comes out October 2020, so sometime this coming month.
Next month. Yeah, nice.
It's okay. Official release date is October 30th. So
Oh, very end of the month. Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
So
I gotta say, The Mandalorian has some fire memes. I will say that.
honestly, if you enjoy Star Wars, The Mandalorian to be that add-on, it's, even though it's not produced by Lucasfilms and all of that, like I will give Disney, very good regards in the fact that I'm not a super fan of the newest movies. Like, there's just, I think they tried to recreate a world for a new generation of kids to get excited about, which they did. I will give them, they did very well. But they didn't do, I don't think they did it justice in tying it into the story, the existing story, as they should have. I think they took some liberties there, and they're like, okay, this is a new generation of kids that like this. Let's have a new story. But when it comes to The Mandalorian, the way that it is shot, the way that it is produced, the way that the whole thing comes together, I think it's Jon Favreau is the director on it. It is, in my opinion, so quintessentially Star Wars that it, in my opinion, it turned out fantastic. And
Cool.
And I like the aspect of they are still doing and using physical props for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I will say that I am a fan of Star Wars, but not to the extent to subscribe to Disney Plus.
I mean,
if they're on, I'll watch them. That's the extent that I enjoy them. It's, I never really got into either of the big Star fandoms.
Star Trek's so good.
I guess that's because I mostly grew up watching Babylon 5. So,
Also very good. The original or the remake?
I wouldn't know because I was young.
Okay.
I would assume probably probably the remake. I would assume, but
Okay.
either way, it was dope. I liked it a lot, and that and Farscape. I watched the crap out of Farscape.
Okay.
That was a good show, in my opinion.
Yes.
It was fun.
I enjoyed
it was
Farscape.
entertaining.
Printer started making stupid noises.
So one of the things I want to talk about that happened over the last few weeks while we were out and about, while Parker was building a house.
Not really building a house, but all right.
Close enough.
Corsair Gaming has gone live on the stock exchange. They did miss out on naming themselves. They should have called themselves Sales. No, their logo.
Yeah.
Instead, they went CRSR. But
That's cool.
But no, it's really cool to see an actual gaming company like them go public, where you can actually own a piece of that. Which
AMD, NVIDIA.
AMD doesn't count. Nor does Nvidia. They're much larger.
They're also not like exclusively gaming companies either.
It's true. So it's going to be interesting to see where the stocks go, because it started out like just over 15. Right now they're at 7.25 a share. So they are going up. They have peaked higher, just not at the moment.
Let me log into my TD account.
Did you buy it?
I did not.
You said you were going to.
I was going to, but I have other things that I need funds towards.
Fair.
That is fair. That's really cool. Like that's pretty crazy. Think of where that could lead if they're successful. Like, think of other companies that could join that market.
Yep. By the way, that joke with Sales was stolen from Gamers Nexus. We'll give credit where credit's due.
I gotta say, I'd be really excited to see like a professional esports team go public, right?
Yeah.
That would be super cool. Allow your fans to buy stock in your esports company.
Well, I know where you're headed. TSM.
I'm only rooting for TSM right now because it would be super awesome to see both Bjergsen and Doublelift get a world championship as long as they've been in the game. Like, that would be super cool.
Yep.
But I've never really been a huge TSM fan, personally.
Gurney was the biggest.
Yeah. Ernie likes TSM.
Yes.
But I just think it would be super cool because I know that they have all the private sponsors and stuff. They had to have private sponsors. But think of if you, instead of a private sponsor alone, one way to get your fans more engaged, more involved in your team, in your brand, give them the opportunity to buy stock in it.
Yep.
Be super cool. I don't ever see an esports team doing something like that, but
I don't either, just because there's so many rules around esports teams and keeping them around that that their value would fluctuate so much.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, you don't see a lot of the big sports teams being publicly traded companies. So
no, but I was just thinking it would be super cool.
I mean,
you never know with Corsair going in the market. If they do really well, you never know what that could actually open up in the gaming world.
Mm-hmm.
Could also make them more loyal to their stockholders, right?
Oh, we lost the Simmons.
We did. Oh, he's back.
I'm here.
You weren't.
You definitely were not for a moment.
Well, I didn't lose this on my end.
I didn't lose him.
Yeah, he froze and went off there for a moment.
Oh, all right.
Weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it definitely can make them more loyal to the stockholders, and I think that would also give their general public more like what's the word? I can't think of the word, but it would basically the general public, the stockholders, could have more say in
gravitas.
No. More say in what the company focuses on. Like, let's say, they're getting all this feedback on things that they're designing, but they're not really listening to it because, whatever, that's what they want to do. But now if you're a publicly traded company, you have stockholders, and you're not listening to what your fans and stockholders are giving you feedback on, your stock will drop.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it opens up a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. If they just focus on, look, This is how we're performing in these markets. You don't really get a say in how we do this, but this is how we're performing, you can like it or not. And I think a lot of the people that bought, a good portion of the people that bought Corsair are actually people who like Corsair products.
Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if they start to develop a new product, or I've heard a lot of people have issues with their IQ technology for their RGB lighting.
Yep.
It's really kind of outdated.
I don't know. I use it for the lighting on my computer, like my mouse, my keyboard, and my cooler, and I find it just fine. Like it's for me, it's actually pretty simple to use, honestly. Like it with the K70, it can be a little bit overwhelming just because like you can customize so much, but I don't have a problem with it. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have any experience with anything else. Like my whole build uses an entire IQ setup,
yeah,
and like for what I use it for, it works. But a lot of the more experienced like build channels, things
Mhm.
that work with it all the time, don't necessarily like it compared to some of the competition. They think that it's outdated and needs some work and revision. So, it's one of those things that if that's something that a large portion of now your company stockholders and shareholders are saying, hey, you're not focusing enough time on things that we want, your stock is going to drop. The worth of your company is going to drop.
Right.
So at some point you have to kind of be like, okay, this is what our people are wanting. This is what we should maybe switch some time and focus into this. We can continue working on this, but maybe shift some things around and actually work on things that your fans want to have working.
Yeah.
Simmons, so going from Corsair, this is a good segue into what is that awesome technology that Leanne Lee just released for their RGB?
So it's not available to the general public yet, at least from what I can tell. I know a lot of reviewers have had them, but they're Leon Lee Uni fans. So what they do is instead of you taking cables from each fan, running them to a hub, you can actually bank 4 fans into one unit. They actually will slide and clip together, and they will then be addressable all with one. They will communicate, and everything will be in order on that fan. And
Yep.
you can have 4 banks of 4 fans on a single controller, allowing you to have 16 fans.
16 fans.
Controlled by a single. Controlled by a. I wanted to say 12. My brain went, no, that's wrong. You can have 16 fans controlled by a single controller with 4. I think it's 4 or 8 wires, 1 or 2 to each set,
That's pretty
which
cool.
is makes cable management a lot easier.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially when we're comparing it to the Corsair hubs that they have, which are just an absolute nightmare for
Rat's
setting
nest.
up. As Hickey shakes his head.
yeah. That's. I think they would before. Honestly, I think if before they were to revamp anything with IQ, they need to revamp the hub system that they've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I use
But-
it, and I was able to do really good cable management. I spent like 6 hours building my PC, and I would say half of it was cable management, just figuring out
Yep.
where to put everything in, and it looks really neat. It's definitely not as cable hidden as I'd like it to be, but given the resources that I had, the funds that I had to put into it at the time, and stuff like that, it looks really good. But definitely there could be, half of the cables realistically there.
Wasn't this also your very first like full build that you've ever done?
It's the very first build that I cared about management for, because it's the very first
Okay.
build that had a see-through window.
Okay, that's fair.
My first time using any RGB, like it was the first for a lot of things, but it's the second computer full build that I've done personally by myself. I had help. My dad helped me with this one, but like all my other cases have been fully closed off cases with no lighting or anything like that. So really taking into consideration the fact that I wanted to be able to see it, I wanted to have lighting and stuff like that. I actually put the time into managing cables, and it was a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. And any help with less cables would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I'm really
'cause
happy with it.
All
Looks really
computer
good,
builders
but-
agree with you on that.
I'm actually a huge fan of the new 12-volt standard, where the motherboards are responsible for the minor rails.
Ooh.
It reduces it from a 24-pin connector, I think, down to a, I think it's like a 16 or 12-pin connector.
My motherboard's still
it's-
24-pin.
Well, yeah, but that standard's not really out yet.
Okay.
It's really going to be going to system integrators first.
Okay.
But if it makes it into the DIY DIY environment, it will greatly simplify the connectors on the board, because the minor rails will be controlled by voltage regulators on the motherboard itself, rather than needing their own rail. So all
That's
the
fair.
power being delivered to the motherboard is going to be 12 volts. That means the whole power power supply's output can be on the 12-volt rail. So it makes
That's
them more
really cool.
efficient. Makes the power supplies more efficient, because they don't have to worry about their own switching and whatnot. They can just
Nice.
let the motherboard do it. And yeah,
Hi, Timo.
Timo can go down.
Sorry.
Oh goodness.
I apologize for that.
Part of me wants the because I was looking at the other day I was looking at new cases, because Simmons's case is I really like that case. Like because you have because of the PSU cover
Oh yeah.
in it, it just cleans everything up.
Yep.
And part
Right
of
there.
me part of me really wants like a new case.
Simmons, aren't you glad I introduced you to the Land Cool too?
Well, you have the LAN Cool mesh.
Yeah, it's the Land Cool 2 mesh. So
Yeah.
it took what was good with the Land Cool 2 and made it better.
Yeah, and the way I have it configured, I don't have the front restrictions,
Yep.
Like
which is the big problem with it.
I mean, granted for me, like, I would probably, I'd probably go with Corsair's, one of the ones that they give you, like the IQ, fans and block with it, just because that's the route I'm going, and because that's
Fair.
the software that I have. Like, I want their fans, so everything can be controlled by one software. It drives.
Buy the fans, right?
Yeah, I know I can just buy the fans,
At
but
$35 a
yeah,
pop.
yeah. But if I get a nice new
Perfect.
case,
Leon Lee's are only 25.
Yep.
if I can get a nice new case to go along with it, like, it's, but I have a slight affinity to the case that I have, because I can mount it to a wall mount.
Yep.
So that means I can keep it off of my desk and keep my. I have this problem. I want
Parker wants no cables ever.
I want the most amount of desk space possible, which means
Fair.
putting my computer on the floor or somewhere, near the floor, or on a shelf, something of that nature, right?
Okay.
But the problem being is, with that, either it goes under the desk and nobody can see my fancy RGB that I've worked so hard and paid so much money to have. You can't see, either you can't see it, or you can and it takes up desk room. With this particular case that I have currently, I can mount it. I can build a plywood. I can plywood and stud my desk, right? Mount it on the back side of my desk. Drill a hole. All the cables go in, and then up through the top of the desk and into the back of my monitors and my peripherals and all of that. And now people can see it. But this case to me is getting mildly boring, just because the new cases out there are so much nicer. And,
Well,
this
that
is
case, like, it was, 6 years ago, was like the go-to water cooling case that you have there.
yes, I know.
It's also great for a test bench.
Yeah,
Yes, it would.
but like but it's the only case that I can effectively.
Oh, there are plenty of cases out there now that you can wall mount.
I mean,
Or you can go the route.
You can
that I
wall
would
mount
really like to
anything if
go.
you're willing to drill holes.
Yes.
That's fair.
Or
I-
just build shelves.
I would
That's
love
actually my
to-
plan for my machine. It's going to go up on a shelf over here.
Nice.
Yep.
I would
Okay.
love to ultimately have a caseless wall-mounted machine.
oh, that would be.
You line all the parts up. Everything is just out in
Yep.
the open. Oh my goodness, it'd be so cool.
I mean,
Think
granted,
of all the lighting effects you can put there. You could have the custom water cooling tubes all be lighted and be shown off separately, and have the board and have all. I mean, I just get excited when it comes to color. It is the ultimate expression of having my computer on a wall and all of the color, right? Then I could put it like in the background, right? You could see a computer behind me or off to the side or whatever, and it would be super awesome.
well,
That's my goal.
so like, I mean, and that's the thing with this thermal tape case. It's like, that's it's so out in the open that you have everything there with your water cooling and all of that. But
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's where I'm kind of stuck. It's like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a lot of really good choices out there these days
Yeah.
that would fit your needs.
Yes.
But I definitely understand the difficulty of picking one. I ended up going with the Obsidian case because I really like it. So
I think if I were to change cases, which I may at some point, I think what I would do is I would just build a shelf on the outside of my desk to set the computer on,
Mhm.
and then route everything. Just have a specific shelf for it.
yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
But I mean, so I was googling a case here. I gotta figure out. All right, that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna share this tab here I got for this case right here, or not case but computer, whomever did this. I freaking love it. I freaking love it.
You may just want to make it big on your screen.
Yeah.
I'm there we go.
That worked. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, though. I would love to do something with
Yep.
that.
Like that, it's so simple yet so gorgeous.
Oh
I
yeah.
love the green start button at the bottom too.
Yeah, everything like that's and that's like, I mean, if you want, that's even no RGB. That guy he just color matched everything, and
Right.
he didn't.
Well,
Oh, I'm a little triggered by something here.
What?
Plywood?
No, that GPU is in like the lowest slot on the motherboard, which is the farthest away from the CPU.
that is true. That is true. But he has nothing. They have nothing else plugged into it, so they definitely don't need to be worried about any kind of bandwidth usage or.
Still, it triggers me.
But I mean,
But if you notice, their very top slot's actually a 1x. So
Yes,
it's-
that's typical.
yeah.
That's typical.
I know, like, I just that build right there to me. I mean, using the copper tube as your the way to manage your cables and all of that. Like that's it's simple, but you know
Yeah.
it.
You know, in order to get that 24 pin through that, they had to take the connector off the end and put it back on after they've pulled it through.
More than likely, yes.
It looks really good. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if it's a full tube and it's not just like a half tube or something like
That
that.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering is if they pulled a little trickery and cut the tube in half. You know.
If they did, it still looks good.
Yeah. But
Very cool.
oh, all right. That I should have scrolled down one picture. This person has on the back side of all the wood planks an LED strip that they have it set to just a neutral white color that is so it has a glow behind it. I'm like, oh, that's
okay.
that's nice. That's real nice. But,
Custom PCs are pretty
oh
awesome.
God.
What are you getting yourself into?
I don't know. I just saw somebody take apart their PSU and the dust, the amount of dust.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
PSUs are dangerous to disassemble.
Yeah, capacitors. But actually this website that this
Speaking
person
of
did
capacitors,
did a
go into
fantastic.
that?
Sure.
So, it was a EVGA has actually confirmed that the capacitors are causing crashes. One thing I want to set the record straight on though is they're not pos caps. They're polymer surface mount device capacitors. So, just because it looks like that doesn't make it a pos cap. Pos cap is a Panasonic brand of capacitor, and they're actually awful for this, according to one of the channels I watch. Actually, Hardcore who actually goes quite deep into what's going on. What we'd like to see is someone hooking this up to an oscilloscope and seeing is it actually dropping voltage and not getting enough out of the capacitor bank when it gets a spiky load at 2 gigahertz, which is where the failure is. But you can't really blame the AIB partners for this. You have to blame NVIDIA because the AIB partners can't change, especially they can choose one of the configurations laid out by NVIDIA for the capacitors on the back of the GPU, but they can't actually make their own. They can choose the parts that go into it, all of that, but it doesn't really matter what capacitors are there if it's using the 6 polymer surface mount capacitors, then it's not adequate for particular workloads, which is causing instability. The solution that we will probably see is a VBIOS update for the cards with these to reduce how high they can clock. So that's an adjustment to their boost output, which you really can't be upset about because you're only guaranteed the 1.7 that is advertised on the GPU, not the 2 gigahertz that it can boost up.
Right.
Now, if you want to get crazy, you can go ahead and modify the capacitors on the back yourself. You know what you're doing. I'm not advising that, but you could make that change and improve the stability of the card, most likely. Because, as Bill Zoid has said in the past, that he loves to just go in and add capacitance to the main rails on GPUs, especially behind them and in CPUs, and he's discovered that does add stability for when he's really pushing the cards.
Nice. Yeah, definitely leave that to people that really really know what they're doing, really
Because
understand
you put a capacitor in there wrong and you can blow the card up.
Oof.
Yep.
No.
At worst, you blow the capacitor up that you put in there. At or at best you blow the capacitor up that you put in. At worst, you short that and blow the GPU up.
Yep.
That'd be bad. That'd be very bad.
But yeah, they're not pos caps. Pos caps are a Panasonic brand. They're just polymer capacitor.
So, other news of what's come out during this hiatus that we had. Oh boy, bunch of games. We're gonna start. I'll start with the first one that I know Hickey is excited to be playing. He was actually playing it the other day. Darksburg.
Darksburg, dude.
So, action RPG, roguelite, co-op gameplay. So lots and lots and lots of replayability. Probably just craziness when you're playing with friends. So I will be finding out shortly. I have yet to actually try the game, but I anticipate doing so in the next week.
I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
And it's a game that allows you to use up to 3. Like if you're playing by yourself, you can use up to 3 AIs with you, so you still have a 4-man party.
Okay.
And the difficulty scales with the number of players. And I will say that it's pretty difficult. Like at least by yourself, it's pretty difficult. It's a good difficulty like range. And the way that the roguelike is handled is you have, so the button layout is kind of like a MOBA. You have QWER, you have 3 basic abilities and 1 heroic ability, they call it,
Okay.
which the heroic recharges as you kill stuff. And then you pick up items. So you can pick up 1 item, you can hold 1 actual like usable item that maybe it gives you an invulnerability for like 1 second, or it gives you some kind of power up for a very brief period of time that you use, and you can swap it out with another item that you find if you want. That's on T, and then you get like a healing item, whether like a potion or a bandage. And there's 2 different health mechanics in the game. You have like your permanent health, which is like a green bar, and obviously it does not, like when you level up and stuff, you don't get health back. So you actually have to drink potions that you find to recoup your permanent health. And then if you use something like a bandage or an ability, some of the characters have abilities that give temporary health, which is a white bar. That is a second health bar that depletes over time, and kind of as you take damage, if you have the temporary health, it takes from that first. And you can pick up bandages and potions that you use, I think, with Y.
Let me guess, you're playing with a controller.
No.
Wow.
You've been mentioning keyboard stuff.
Yeah. T and Y, and TY. So it's a lot of fun because it is a roguelike. So when you level, you get a random three choices of picking an ability to enhance at each level. So it's, okay, you want to enhance this ability or this ability, and it's kind of cool how there's I would say a double roguelike, because normally you just pick up enhancements as you go.
Right.
It's actually like a leveling system. You gain experience and level, and you pick a new enhancement for an ability at random. And you have the random like items you can pick up that enhance everything.
So as you're leveling, when you're finally fail your run, do you actually keep those levels and enhancements, or does all that reset?
So it resets.
Okay.
From my experience so far, I've only played it twice. I played with 2 different characters, so I don't know if they carry over with the character. But my guess is because when I started the game again with a different character, I had to start level 1 again.
Okay.
Like a traditional roguelike.
Yep.
I'm assuming that you lose everything. However, you can, I haven't found any yet, but it looks like there are permanent items you can unlock that go into like a storage chest that I think you can like go in and use with any character.
Nice.
So, but it's been a lot of fun. The only thing that I wish that they had was because of my years playing League with attack move, my actually clicking on the tiny little enemies is not as accurate as I want it to be. And if you don't click right on them, you don't attack them, you just walk at them. So that's my only complaint, is I wish that they would add something that allowed me to target near an enemy. But you can use the force attack. You hold shift, and if you click, you just stand there and attack. So like I could use that in its place, but you know, there's some quality of life stuff. That's the only complaint I've got with it so far. I think the difficulty is scaled pretty well. I will say that I failed one mission because I didn't understand how the mission worked, and you can't tell the AIs to stay in one place. Like they either follow you or they follow you. So,
But do they
so,
follow you?
You know, I think you can make it so they follow you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it just was my failure to understand the mechanic of the level resulted me in failing. I was this close. Once I figured it out, I was like, oh, but okay, I lose now. So,
Yep.
but it's really cool because like there are things you have to do where there's part of an objective. Maybe it's, blow up this wall. You actually have to go find a case of explosives, and your character picks it up and carries the explosive barrel over to the area, which means you can't do anything. You're actually physically carrying an object and placing it and like, blowing it up. And
So it sounds like on those missions in particular, you need somebody to help you out to take out the hordes of enemies coming at you.
yeah, it's a little hard to put down the barrel and not immediately shoot it or hit it, causing it to explode. And the enemy,
Damaging it and/or killing you.
yeah, enemies kind of respawn in different waves. They don't respawn in the same spot, but like if you clear out an area and then leave and
Yep.
then come back, you'll see enemies coming in at different parts of the screen. So it's like a constant. You don't just get to clear an area and then do the objective. You constantly are fighting things.
Okay.
So
That very much reminds me of our days. What was that game, Dave, that we played for a while with some crazy puzzles in it? Forced.
I don't think I ever played that.
I bought it for you. We have played
you
it.
left such a great impression on him.
I'm like 99% sure that I bought it for him and we've played it.
I think I've played that with you. a
What
couple times.
library?
Steam.
I don't own it. I'm
You don't
looking
own
right now.
Forced?
I don't own.
I think I do.
Mm,
Might have been
Okay.
it for me.
okay.
That was,
I was
mean,
wrong.
that was a pretty good game. I enjoyed that. I do remember playing that.
Simmons,
Wow,
I
didn't realize
apologize.
You had the power of the materializer there from Star Trek. I was
So
trying to
there's
remember where that effect was from.
Yep. So there's a few other games that have just come out recently. One of my favorite Sega Saturn games, Panzer Dragoon, just got a full remake that just hit Steam and all the other sellers out there. So that's one I'm going to have to be picking up. I can't tell you if it's any good. I have no idea. It looks pretty as all hell. And from some reviews I've read, it's very nostalgic in the style of combat, and some people absolutely hate that because it's clunky combat. We'll get over it. It was a Saturn game.
Was it Panzer Dragoon Orta, or is it just Panzer Dragoon?
Panzer Dragoon.
They need to remake Orta. That was.
I agree. I actually still own my Orta Sega Saturn disc.
Dang.
Yeah. And then one of the ones I've been looking forward to since it was ever announced is we get a lot of boom. Serious Sam form. Serious Sam 4. Words are hard. So if you're looking for a game where you just run around and just shoot things into oblivion and feels like it's completely endless, that is the game for you. There are tons of bugs on it right now, but definitely looks like a lot of fun.
Nice.
Now, for you nostalgic people, there is a treat on good old games right now, and for once I have to
Oh.
applaud Konami because they have re-released for PC the original Metal Gear, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, which has been renamed Substance from Sons of Liberty because there's new content apparently to it.
Ooh.
And the pack also contains a Konami pack, which is all of the NES Contra games and Castlevania games. Actually, I think it's NES and SNES.
I've never played any of the Metal Gear games.
Oh,
You're good. You should.
one
play.
and 2 are phenomenal. 3 is, I've heard, is really, really good, but it's a PS2 game, and that's when art styles were weird. And I was like, is that a tree or a person? And then I get shot and died.
Three is good, but like.
It's really hard to see stuff.
And then
in
you
that
get
genre.
up to it, and that tree somehow was carrying an AK.
Pretty much. But yeah, my eyes had a really, really hard time seeing anything in that.
When the reeds start talking in Vietnamese.
But yeah, those are the most recent games that have come out that I've been seriously interested in, been watching for a while. Although Panzer Dragoon was just a curveball that just excited the hell out of me.
Definitely neat.
Yep.
It was really, really funny because in another one of the Discord chats that we're in, a buddy of mine was like, "Oh, I really wish I could play the old Contra games," and he's really looking forward to that nostalgia. And like the very next day, I was like, "Oh, hey, look, here you go.
Yep.
Look what Konami's doing."
Yeah.
So it was really, really kind of crazy timing on that.
Yep. This is like the first good thing I've said about Konami in a while. Just they've made some very bad choices over the last few years.
Many game developers have made bad choices over the last year.
I don't know what you're talking about. Every other game developer is perfect.
Looking at you, Bethesda.
God, I hate that company. I'm so glad they're owned by Microsoft.
Title.
Yeah, so for those of you who do not know,
release, and it's actually in early access because
Yes.
we have to fix a bunch of bugs.
Yep. So that's actually some really cool news that we kind of glazed over. Is Microsoft now owns all of the Bethesda companies. So both it's
No, ZeniMax company, not Bethesda.
ZeniMax.
Bethesda
Sorry,
is
ZeniMax. So yeah,
And
so
they've
maybe
already
now.
stated that any announced titles right now will continue to go as they were planned to go.
Yep.
New titles will be on a case-by-case basis.
Yep.
However, I think what they're going to do is they may do, hey, you get it a little early if you have Game Pass or something like that.
I'm okay with that. I'm even okay with them making them all Xbox exclusives.
Well, because they're going to end up on PC anyway.
Exactly. But that's going to really help them out against all the Sony exclusives that are going to be out there.
Microsoft seems to have changed their plan. They don't seem to be doing exclusives like Sony is.
Right.
They seem to be doing, hey, look, we have Game Pass. Come get our subscription. You get access to this whole library of games. You can play them for as long as you want. And as soon as you're tired of it, just change the game you're playing.
Yep.
And that seems to be the model that a lot of media companies are going with. And it seems to be working very, very well. Netflix,
Right.
HBO, all of
And
those.
right now, if you are a Discord Nitro subscriber, you can actually get 3 months of Game Pass for free to try it out.
Very nice.
Not sponsored by Discord.
No.
No.
Not at
I
all.
hear geese.
Hashtag
Yeah,
not.
they're flying over my apartment.
Honk, honk.
Still
Bang, bang.
technically goose season, I think.
You saying you want to go eat a goose?
Sure. It's a little bit more
Pretty
tough than duck, but
Less greasy?
yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
It's wild meat. Wild meat
Yeah.
is a little bit more lean than a lot.
Yeah.
Most
Yep.
of the meat you get.
I will say that while I'm not a huge Fallout fan, the fact that Obsidian Entertainment and Bethesda are now under the same roof again leads for some interesting ideas potentially for a new actual Fallout game, because we all know how great 76 is, right?
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good game.
We're begging for a Fallout New Vegas.
You're laughing like I am saying that as being sarcastic, but I actually did enjoy Fallout 76.
I tried.
What
I tried to enjoy it.
what really killed it for me was nobody else wanted to play it. I couldn't get for a social game like I played with a couple of randos
That's unheard of for you.
Yeah, I played with a couple of randos on a couple of my sessions, and we were doing, and it was a fine time. I actually enjoyed myself, and because everybody else didn't want to play, I was like, well, I guess I fell into the same trap that I fall in with every Fallout. And so
Or any game like that.
yeah, but Bethesda games, there's because their story is so long.
You should try
I get
Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I get bored playing by myself. Like
The whole thing with 76 though is that there wasn't like a story.
there was a story.
There
It
was,
was-
but you had to read text blocks
Yes,
or listen to audio files.
exactly.
And that's not Fallout,
I'm sorry. It
It's
was
the original Fallout.
yeah.
but it's not a modern Fallout.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to go back to grassroots, that's what Fallout was, and
Yep.
and it was when you were playing socially, it was fun, and I think, what's that?
I'd have been happier had it been, hey, you can invite friends to join you to explore the Fallout world, not, oh, we're taking all of the NPCs out, and the only other moving things you see are players.
Well, that's not true. They didn't remove all of the NPCs. It was just they limited them. Yes, you didn't have
You didn't have factions fighting each other at random as you were going around. You didn't have traders going through. You didn't.
The only living NPCs were the robots, right?
Yeah.
There's no actual NPC characters. Every human, every other living life form that you see as a player, as far as like obviously the enemies and stuff, but the whole point is that they took out what made Fallout. And that's why it flopped so hard, and that's why so many people didn't like it, because it's like, well, we didn't ask you to take out all the.
We didn't ask you to
people.
take the Fallout out of Fallout.
well, I don't think
We asked
and,
for co-op.
and as I was playing it, like as I was playing it, I did not feel that it was any less Fallout. Like I 100% was playing. I was like, oh, this is a good Fallout game, you know. Granted, there was missions like when I would run through and I'd have like dual death claws coming at me, and I'm like, oh god, I could use like 3 other people's help, but of course there was nobody playing, so nobody else. But that was my thing, was like, I think everybody was expecting to play it alone, and it was not designed as such. It was designed very socially, and
Yeah, I think that was the issue with it, is that people didn't want what they wanted a Fallout game that they could play with their friends. If they wanted a Fallout game,
and it was
they
very
could play
much
with their friends.
and it was very much Fallout if you gave it that chance. Like,
I mean, there are a lot of people that gave it a lot of chances that have all said it's not a Fallout game.
I mean,
I'm not a huge fan of the games in general, so all I'm saying is I'm excited for the potential possibility, because it sounds like the majority of people didn't enjoy the game, and I have another friend who really enjoys playing it with a few other people, but it's just, you know,
I think
having the original developers back involved would be super nice.
I
Right.
think, honestly, if people went back to playing it now after, I think it probably it would have what I would call this No Man's Sky effect,
Or the
Is-
Division effect.
or the Division effect. After time,
Well, No Man's Sky had to fix itself.
yeah, and Fallout
It
did.
overpromised and underdelivered.
And Fallout did, in fact, they fixed, here's a free DLC if you had bought the game when it came out. Here's a DLC that adds in, you know, NPC storyline, and you know, they listened to their community, but nobody wanted to give it that chance afterwards. They did, let's face it, they did the typical gamer thing to do, is, I don't like what you did, so I am going to write you off.
Well, and
Yep.
I think
That's a normal consumer thing to do.
yeah,
Right.
same thing happened with the original Division, right? But the thing is, there are people that will go back to it, and it has its core player base. But the problem is that when you release something that is drastically different than the expectations that were set, or what the player base is asking for. I don't know what kind of testing they did for 76, but I feel like they probably got a lot of feedback that says, hey, we need to fix this. Yeah,
Mhm.
they still released the game in a state that nobody wanted it in. And people bought it full price, put 40, 50, 60 hours into it, and said, this is not a game that I want to play. And then when Bethesda realized, maybe we really messed up, even though we were told many times we messed up, maybe we should try and fix this. At that point, nobody wants to go
You've
back
lost
into
your
it.
base, yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing happened with Division. Division was rushed out by Ubisoft, and it was nowhere near what they promised. And they did a lot of updates, a lot of patching to make it a super fun and enjoyable game.
I loved the story. I finished the story on that
Oh my
one
God.
week after release.
Dude, the story was so good.
But there were a lot of
Yep.
issues that they didn't
Yeah.
push
There-
forward.
Yeah, there are definitely a ton of
Well,
actual gameplay issues.
I didn't do like a lot of the Dark Zone or anything like that. It was just way too stressful for me.
Really? You found that stressful?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
boy.
rough. But
Like initially it was, you could get caught in situations where you would basically die instantly.
Yes, 100%.
And it's like, okay, how is that fun for me? I didn't even have a chance to fight back.
Get good. You know, Dark Souls theory.
Oh goodness. But, like, yeah, so I guess the whole point is like when you do something that the community doesn't ask for, you lose them, and you can basically expect them to not go back to it, because especially when you're given the feedback initially, like before
Yep.
you release the game. Look what happened with Amazon's New World. They pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. They actually like almost basically released it. Had a beta test that everyone said, basically, if you release this as it is, you will flop.
I thought that was a different Amazon game that they pulled. New World's still on schedule to be released.
New World has been delayed twice.
Okay,
New
okay.
World was scheduled to be released and was delayed twice. There was another game that was fully unpublished. Amazon made, released it, got such bad feedback that they actually
Crucible.
released it.
Yep, Crucible they completely pulled from the shelf to go back and actually redevelop it.
See, I like when developers do that. Yes,
Me
it's
too.
painful for the
Yes.
developer, but if you can improve it,
Yep.
you're likely to recover financially from the situation.
Well, it's just like what BioWare's doing with Anthem. They're completely rebuilding the game from the ground up. And they're keeping events going on in the current state that it's in. And I have to say, I've played it a little bit in its current state, and it's hella fun.
I played it in the beta, and I liked the idea, and then when I played it in the beta, I was turned off to it, and
I'm actually quite enjoying what the time I've put into it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say ultimately that my point is, when you, like especially with Amazon New World, they were going to release the game in a completely undesirable state. And
Mhm.
when you get the feedback, if you don't listen to that feedback, like what 76 did, or other games of that nature that have just ignored their feedback from the testing phases, you can't expect the people that came out, gave you the feedback, realized you didn't listen, didn't change the feedback, you're not going to get them back, right? The trust is broken, you've lost it, you're just not going to get that player base back. So I
Yep.
understand that maybe you're having fun with 76 as it is now, and you wish more people were playing it, but they lost so many people's trust when they didn't listen that you're not going to get that player base back. So
The only way I think that they could actually get people back is if like they did one of those hey, get the game for free.
exactly, I think
And then a
if
lot
they
of
were to
people would
make
go
it
back
free,
and actually be willing to try it.
and it wouldn't. It's seeing as one of their big part of their model is microtransactions.
Yep.
they could do that. They could make it a free release.
And I think a game like that would actually benefit very well from a free release.
Because then not only are you getting people that potentially go back to play it, but you're getting new players. People are like, well, from all the stuff that I've heard, I don't want to spend money on a game that I might not enjoy.
Yep.
Make that game free. They go and they play it, they enjoy it, they spend money on microtransactions.
Or like what Ubisoft does with Division 1 and 2. They drop the price down to like Division 1 down to like $4.99 and Division 2 like $15. for the full everything minus the newest DLC.
Yep.
But that's every time they do that, they get a whole new wave of players in. Some stick around, some do not. But Division 2 is definitely a game that's worth constantly going back to. Like, I need to play through New York City because I want to do that tower. Oh, I want to do that so bad. But I have too much other stuff on my plate that I need to finish up first.
Yeah.
You know what game series I feel
Yeah,
like they
actually-
need another game for?
Was that a free expansion or was it a paid DLC?
$30 expansion.
Yeah.
It's
Worth
fun. It's
every
worth it.
penny.
I haven't even finished the main story
Well, get top 2. Hippity hippity hoppity.
because I did all the city and then all of a sudden I lost all the city and then I was like,
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at in
I don't
Division
really
2
want
either.
to play through all that again.
But you do, because it's a whole new storyline and it's actually very good as well.
Yeah. Because you go from the 3 factions you were helping with to now a 4th faction, and it's
Which
It
is
really-
as
it
geared
really
or
was-
better than you are.
yeah.
It really wasn't as enticing of a storyline as the first one for me.
No, I can completely respect that. I can definitely
I will tell
respect
you,
that.
Warlords of New York is a dope storyline. Being the only person that's actually played through it here, it's a dope storyline.
Yeah.
Can we just can they just make a Rona based storyline? That's what I want.
That's pretty much what the dollar flu is.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
Well, except the Dollar Flu has a much higher fatality rate.
Yeah.
Well, not
Uh,
according to the
let's not-
original numbers they released and how it
let's
was
not
going to
get
kill
into
2%
this
of the
here.
world.
Let's not get into this here.
All right. So shifting gears, but keeping it in the same category here. I feel like they need another BioShock game. I hear
Infinite wrapped it up though.
Yeah.
I don't want a continuation on the story. I want more prequel game. Like I want to be part of the start of the revolution. That's what I
I thought Infinite was the
Basically,
prequel game.
Infinite.
No. It was, but it wasn't. Because Infinite was a different timeline?
Same timeline.
No, it is not.
Could have sworn it was.
Nope. Infinite. So the timelines that BioShock plays with is complete. It's different timelines, but it's all the same. So basically, Infinite is a parallel universe where the city there was no underwater city
Until you touch the Burial at Sea DLC. That was the prequel part of.
but burial at sea they were still that was just to try to tie the two together to prove that not prove, but that was tying the two games together.
Right.
Basically Burial at Sea, so Infinite is a different universe. Shouldn't say like.
But if they're tying them together with that DLC, then they are in the same universe.
No, they're not.
He's saying they're different timelines of the same thing.
No, they're not. They're they're parallel universes. The whole game is that they figured
different timelines.
Yes.
Of the same events.
yes, they stole because they stole the what is it, the Elizabeth character from Booker in a different portion of time. That's it. It's very confusing if you don't sit and like read the books and the lore and whatnot. It is it is very confusing if you don't dive into it. Like, I spent a couple hours one day just listening to several different people explaining how everything is tied together.
Okay.
But they don't have, like, Burial at Sea is like the start of the whole thing. Like, that's pre like breakdown of society in Rapture. But I want a game strictly dedicated to the division of the two factions of Rapture. Because
Yeah, I can see that.
I could see that.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think BioWare is gonna make another Bioshock.
So
they're making there was talk of BioShock 4.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, it would be cool to actually be a participant in the actual like destruction of that world.
yes,
I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like because the history on how like the plasmids came to be and how everything kind of happened, like the blue collar workers being separated from everybody else, like the scientists and stuff, like that whole story, the whole overall storyline. Like, I feel like they should take what came from the books and different things like that, the universe itself that where people have filled in gaps, and basically create a game off of that. But
That'd be very cool.
I'm interested to see, because there is talk of BioShock 4. Yeah. I'm interested to see how what's that's going to entail if it comes to fruition. Cool. Yeah. But
very cool ideas.
Also, I really feel that they need to remake Sid Meier's Pirates, but I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna
get behind.
I'm gonna stand on my soapbox, and anytime I can bring it up, I'm going to bring it up, because that game was so fantastic that it needs to be remade in a new engine with some new like first person aspects to it.
And I want a re-release of Sim Tower, which none of you have ever played.
Nope.
So you've played like Sim City, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured it'd be something similar.
But what this is, you're actually building a skyscraper, so you have to figure out like what's on each floor, how to manage the funds for everything. Are you gonna put condos here? Are you gonna put businesses here?
That's cool.
But you want some space in between the condos and the businesses, so like business people aren't getting pissed at the people that live there for the noise, and vice versa. It's so much fun.
Give me a second. I have a.
It's like City Skylines, but in a tube.
I have.
Sorry, I bumped the microphone.
I'm sending you
or
a link.
Sim City, but in a tube.
This one, this should satisfy your want for that game.
Oh God.
Oh no. Fallout Shelter.
That's not a
What's
tower.
What's wrong with you?
That's not a tower.
But
it's not even remotely the same.
It's pretty much the same. It's the same thing. It's the same game.
Nope, not even close.
Here's Parker sitting in an office. Parker needs to identify the difference between these two things. One is Sim Tower and one is Fallout Shelter. They're the same thing.
Rex. You know for a fact I refuse to play Bethesda games until they get their shit together and actually release a fully done game.
That the game is a fully done game.
Mobile games don't count.
It's not a mobile game. It's a PC game.
100% is a mobile game that was ported to PC.
You can play it on PC. It's a PC game.
Yep.
Oof.
PC capture rates.
Let
Alright, I think with that. With that, we should probably wrap things up. That's a heck of a statement.
I mean,
Oh goodness.
I mean, looking at Sim Tower and looking at Fallout Shelter, it's the same game. I see it right there. You have elevators and you have rooms and you have it's basically the same thing.
Fair.
No, I might have to boycott Rex from here on out.
Yeah. Yeah. This may be the end.
Rex, you know those items that are sitting in my living room that are gonna match your shower curtain? I don't know if I'm gonna deliver them anymore.
You know what? I hope you like them because they're stuck with you now.
Oh,
Yep.
all right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's been us today. Been fun.
Yep.
As
Everyone has a wonderful, wonderful day.
Yep, and
Yes.
as always, you know, we're less consistent over the past couple of weeks, but
There's a lot to do with changes.
yeah, big changes happening for everybody, and if you didn't catch the full stream, you'll be able to catch us on YouTube, the rebroadcast. Well, not the rebroadcast, but our video up on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday on the YouTubes. You can like and subscribe there if you want, or you know you can follow us on Twitch. You know, get the notifications when we go live, and you know, we'll just catch us there. Thanks again. You guys have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you for your time, everybody. We appreciate you, and you're awesome.
Yes, thank you. Bye.